Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film and they discuss it. Today we're talking 2021's The Cursed, which was directed by Sean Ellis. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric.
And joining us again is my dad, Greg Lawless. Welcome back to the show, Dad.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I'm glad you chose this movie, but I was thinking the last time you were on was it Friday the 13th? Was that the first
Yeah,
and last?
that was the only time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, good. So I'm glad we got you back. We'll get you back sooner than later than last time.
Yeah.
But before we get started into this movie, I was thinking earlier, like Eric and I, we've covered a lot of movies from the 80s and, the 90s and all that stuff. But I always wanted to like ask you, like, did you see any horror movies in the 80s aside from Friday the 13th?
No, because Friday the 13th scarred me so badly. I was like, I didn't really want to see any horror movies. So the movies that came out were the movie about like this puppet. It was like a Charlie doll. And I was
Huh.
so afraid I couldn't really watch that. The commercial would come on and I would freak out. I was, not ready.
Was it Chucky?
No, it was a mannequin. It was like a doll, like a ventriloquist doll.
Huh. I'll look it up.
You were a little old to be scared of Goosebumps, but that was the main character.
Yeah, no, that was way past. Yeah, I saw it like Creep Show and those movies. When they came out, I really liked those. Then I read Stephen King, and I wasn't like afraid of anything. So to this day, I can watch pretty much anything, and nothing bothers me. But Friday the 13th scarred me really badly when I
Yeah.
was a kid. Yeah.
Well, there's one movie I do want to bring up in a little while because it relates to this movie, The Curse, and it's something you showed Bailey and I, when we were kids. But before anything, we just got to say, Eric, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm 26. It's
Oh
great.
yeah, you're
Feels good.
26. Yeah, big 3-5. What's up?
Yeah, yeah.
You can rent a helicopter now.
Really? Is that the rule?
No, no, you can run for president though. That is, you can do that now.
Now I can be president? Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the one thing you get at 35.
I've recorded too many of these episodes. I don't think I can be president.
Yeah, you guys have been friends since you're little.
I know.
Third grade. Yeah.
It's been like 30 years already.
98. Yeah, just 30 years almost. Yeah.
And what'd you do
Wow.
today though?
I went to work.
What else?
No, my wife and daughter were away for a few days, so I had the house to myself. So I had some good alone time, but mostly just cleaning the house. I know that's boring. And then today they came back on my birthday, and we went out to my favorite burger dog joint called Merritt Canteen in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and it was delicious.
Oh
And
yeah.
I already want to go back. I'm so hungry. Like I love that place.
Oh, happy birthday, Eric.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the Wheel of Horror too. It's a great birthday.
I know. All right. Well, jumping into this movie. So this is The Cursed, which came out in 2021. And Dad, you showed this to me like 2 years ago when I was back in Connecticut. And you had seen it before that though, right?
I just saw it once, and then I watched it recently for the show, and I liked it both times.
Yeah. How did you hear about this? Like, because you're the one who suggested it. So where'd you hear about it?
I just think that it came on like Hulu. It was on available, so it got good rating. So I decided to watch it, and I liked it because it wasn't really a vampire or werewolf movie. It was, but it kind of had that feel.
You don't think this is a werewolf movie?
Oh, this is totally werewolf. It has to be. If
Well,
anything, but you're right, Greg. It does kind of break like the. It's not like a hairy monster.
yeah, it's a curse.
Yeah,
So it's not really, I mean, it wasn't really werewolf, but it kind of had that feel at first. And then when you see the monster, when you see what they are, it's not really werewolf. I didn't think.
Yeah.
well, it's got silver bullets and things and
Yeah,
the
right,
the
right,
Romani people. You're thinking, like that's kind of like the original Wolfman. That's
right,
where I was
right,
like, it is werewolf, but it's weird. We'll get to it too. But there's that whole operation scene where it just
right.
it does its own take on werewolves though, which is really cool.
Well, did they explain the silver bullets in the original werewolf movies like they did in this movie?
Um,
I don't think so.
I forgot why, where something about the moon and silver or something about silver being pure. It's like a pure metal, like it's clean. I think that's why they use silver bullets to kill werewolves. I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
Google that while we're talking.
This was much better. This gives it this whole, element that like when Judas betrayed Jesus, they gave him 30 pieces of silver, and that's what these are. It's been passed down. It's like I like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that makes more sense.
Yeah, but this, you're right though. This isn't specifically a werewolf because it's out during the day. It was like it went out, there was no transformation, didn't have to be killed by silver. These things can be killed just by regular bullets. So you're right. It's not technically a werewolf movie, but I don't know. I want to call it a werewolf movie for some reason. I feel like the poster really makes it feel like that.
Oh, I didn't even see the poster. Oh, yeah. The girl bending over with vines coming out of her.
No, it's like fangs. It's like dripping metal fang or the silver fangs.
Oh,
But yeah, no, because you love werewolf movies, right, then?
yeah. No, I do. They really haven't made any good ones lately, at least.
The Wolfman was decent. The new one was pretty good.
It was all right. There was a lot of CGI and the one with what's his name?
Nisha Del Toro and Anthony Hawkins.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about the one that came out this year.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Oh,
that one's a different one too. Yeah, there's a lot of werewolf movies out there,
oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
but I agree with Greg. Like I haven't seen them all, but like I really like this as a let's call it a werewolf movie. As a werewolf movie, I really liked it. I thought it was a good take on it. It brought it like into the past more, which that one with Benicio del Toro does too. But this is like in France and in the 1880s or whatever. I forgot
Yeah,
when it is.
1881.
Yeah, one of the things that they reference in the movie, and one of the things that was on IMDb is Gévaudan, France.
Yeah,
That beast that they had that was basically something that the main character in this film referenced, but that was from 1767. So
yeah,
that was way beforehand, but they referred to it like it happened in his lifetime. It did, but the real story happened in the 1700s.
yeah.
So this took place in the late 1800s.
I looked up that story. It was pretty intense. Do you guys know anything about that? About the area that this movie, like where he comes from?
No, but it's France, right?
Yeah, so it's I can't remember what it's called. You just said it, Dad. It was
Gévaudan.
Yeah, Jevedon. And apparently in 3 years there was 113 murders by some creature. And it was kind of similar to this. Like they paid a bunch of people and people just kept getting killed. And then finally the army got involved and King Louis sent people over there and they killed a 5'7" wolf and its whatever spouse and its kids. And then the murder stopped for a month, and then it came back again. There's another even bigger wolf, and for 3 years, this area of France really was getting murdered by a pack of wolves. Basically, it was pretty
And
crazy.
that's not folklore, that's history.
That's history, yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. So they took that aspect, and that's what the main character of this movie's claiming. He's like, "Oh, I came from that area, and I think this is related or whatever." So it's like pretty cool they incorporate all that.
Interesting. And that's probably where the fangs kind of came into play, because that's probably where the fangs came from.
He knows about the fangs because he has to melt them down. So it's like the fangs keep getting transferred from bullet to fangs, and it's like it spreads the curse.
Yeah, you're right. That's wild.
I think the main character, his wife and daughter were both killed in Gévaudan.
Yeah, exactly. So he was coming from an area where that was happening. He's a pathologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something, his wife and kid were murdered by this. So he's like, I'm gonna go hunt this thing down, basically.
Yeah, it's become his life.
I like that. That's kind of like a Van Helsing like character, but Van Helsing I don't think had family killed by vampires. He was just a doctor.
Yeah.
And this is like, no, I have beef with these creatures, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, definitely adds a lot to his character. But the reason I asked you that about the werewolf movies was because the movie that you showed Bailey and I from the early '80s was the American Werewolf in London, and you really like that one, right?
Yeah, that one I liked a lot.
That's a great movie.
It had its faults, but it aged pretty well. But the story was good. I mean, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's funny that you were so scared by Friday the 13th, but then the next year that came out. But that's kind of like a comedy-ish too.
And I don't think I watched it. I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it on VHS when it came out. So that was probably a couple of years after that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And the practical effects of that movie, I mean, it's old, but it still holds up for sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's very good.
And there were a couple of like CGI moments in this movie, but they weren't over the top.
No, no, they did it really well. This movie way better than the 2010 Wolfman with Benicio del Toro.
I like this one more than that too, Alec. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gave you glimpses and it was actually pretty scary. You know, some of the jump scares in this movie were like actually pretty creepy. This movie kind of had it
Yeah.
all. Like it had, with the exception of like romance, which I'm kind of glad it didn't have, but it really was scary, action-packed, lack of CGI, and just like really atmospheric. It was all shot on film and it was all shot in France too. I'm like, how did this movie get made? Like, it just doesn't seem like a kind of movie like that would get made today.
I don't know, but I want to go on your point about no romance. But one thing this does have that other werewolf movies that I can think of don't have is bringing and involving children into the movie, which is what it does. It becomes about these kids pretty much getting nightmares like Freddy Krueger, and
Yeah.
it's really unique, and it's that's what you need in today's horror. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and the way they shot it and the colors that they used and the mist, the fog, and it was perfectly done. It wasn't like overdone and it wasn't overused or the color was really creepy. It gave a gloomy feel, to the entire film.
Yeah, it's like Sleepy Hollow with a curse and a werewolf.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I was really impressed too because the guy that wrote, directed this, Sean Ellis, he was also the cinematographer. So like he chose all the shots, the way the camera was going to move. So like this was really his baby. So I guess
Yeah.
we'll get into the plot a little bit here just so we can kind of move along.
Before we do that, can I just do the stats real quick?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just so we know like the budget and stuff of this movie. It debuted on February 18th, 2022, which I believe it originally debuted in 2020.
2021 was at Sundance and then 2022.
Exactly, that's what I saw. So it's like February 18th, 2022 is what I'm going to say. Runtime is an hour 55 minutes. Its budget originally was 35 million, but they ended up spending close to 100 million. So they went way over like three times the
Wow.
budget pretty much to make this. But I feel like you said, Alec, this was the director's baby, and he probably was very passionate about getting it done and getting it done right. The box office was not great, only 4.6 million, so quite the loss.
Wow.
Rotten Critic scores 71 and the Rotten Audience scores 54. I'd give this a 75 in my like after watching it once. I really liked it.
Well, the woman that was in the main character, the mother, is Beth in Yellowstone, and I think they probably thought she would have more of a draw because that was about the time that Yellowstone was getting really popular.
Yeah. I just finished watching Yellowstone a few months ago. It was a great show.
Oh yeah,
And the lead actor, Boyd Holbrook, his career took off like right after this. He was in the new Indiana Jones and
Right.
he was in Sandman. He's been in a lot recently.
yeah, I like him a lot.
And Greg, you're right. Beth's character in Yellowstone, I guess Yellowstone came out in 2018. I had no idea it was that old. So that's crazy.
But aside from that, those are the only two recognizable people.
Well, the father,
Oh yeah.
Alistair Petrie, he's been in a few things on Netflix and some other shows, but I'm trying to remember if I recognized him when I saw it the first time or if he's been in a lot since then, and I kind of recognize him now. So, but I liked his character. I like him.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing this movie doesn't have, I was thinking, there's no romance. There's also like zero comedy. There's like no levity at all. Because I was thinking,
Oh
are
yeah,
any of these characters kind of the comedic relief? And it's like, no, there's not even like a slight joke at all, you know?
No jokes, you're right.
yeah. But I think that's what made it more believable, more realistic. When they have like Tim Burton did Sleepy Hollow, which I loved. I thought Sleepy Hollow was excellent, but it was more of a Tim Burton movie. Had its share of funny scenes and odd characters that and I liked it, but this was all. It was very serious. I mean, it was more of a horror movie.
No, big time. So I guess we'll get into the plot a little bit and then stop me anywhere if anybody has anything that they want to throw in. But basically, it starts off and it takes place in World War One at the Battle of Somme in France, and you just see like I don't know if it's like mustard gas is coming down. Everybody's getting coughed, or they're coughing in the trenches, and they take one guy to the infirmary and they pull out a bullet, and it's like a weird looking bullet. They know it's not a German bullet. Cuts back to 35 years earlier. We're in a different part of France, and it's a beautiful, huge home. Yeah, so now we're back at the in 1881, and there's that guy, Seamus. He owns this huge plot of land, and a Romani cult. They come and basically they say we
Not a
own.
cult, a clan, like a
I'm sorry, what
clan.
did I say? Cult? Sorry,
It's not a
clan.
cult. I
They're a
mean,
clan.
sure.
Sorry, clan. They say that they own the land, and I guess they have a meeting where the priest actually does say like this is actually their land, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. Aren't Romanis just travelers? Like they're just they stay for a bit and then they keep going.
Yeah.
Isn't that like kind of their thing?
Yeah, but he says that they owned it. They owned the land. So I don't know what the deal was. I mean, I don't know what the original claim was to the land.
I think they were traveling and settled on the land, but they were pretty much like, you don't own this land.
Yeah, so then they just leave and then they come back. They're like, we want this back now. It's like, well, we kind of built stuff here. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, we put up teepees or tents or whatever. Like, come on, man.
So, yeah, so they want them to leave, which I don't know. Yeah, so they decide they're going to hire a bunch of mercenaries to go over and deal with them. And the way they deal with them is brutal.
That scene, it was all like kind of one shot, pretty much,
Yeah.
and it was nuts. And that must have been an expensive shot to do. Yeah, when they're just slaughtering them, just shooting them all down, and they're all running into the woods and stuff. Like that was brutal.
Yeah, but when they cut off the guy's hands and they put him in the scarecrow, that was a serious scene. I mean,
Yeah, that was like we'll send a message to random people that walk by this land now. It's like I don't know how many people are going to be walking through here, but
Yeah.
that was like the crucifixion. Wait, that was like all right, like cut both his feet off, both his hands off, put him on like a scarecrow stalk and covered his face.
yeah,
Damn, that was gnarly.
Right. And there's like the leader, she's this woman, and she tells the guy who they turn into a scarecrow, she's like melt down these the silver and I'm gonna turn it into fangs or whatever. And they know that's the way to spread the curse. And yeah, so she gets buried alive with that. So just really quick, yeah, they come, they burn down their entire village, kill all of them. It's all in one shot. They drag the leader, they beat her up, and then they drag, I think it's her son, cut off his arms and legs, string him up, and leave him for alive. So he's like his own character now. That's like this scarecrow monster guy. She gets buried alive with the fangs, and then the kids come back and they're like, "Oh my God, like what is that thing?" And they're like you said earlier, Eric. They're like Freddy Krueger haunted by this scarecrow in the field, and they're seeing the fangs, they're seeing the woman, they're seeing the scarecrow all in their dreams.
Well, they haven't seen the scarecrow yet. They just have dreams about it, and they all like kind of say like, "Hey, is anyone else having these dreams?" And then
Right,
they go, and one kid is like, "I know where it is," but they also have dreams about the fangs, and
right.
they know where it's buried. So it's part of the curse that they're like
meant to find it.
naive to digging up the things. And one of the kids is like, "I'm gonna dig it up," and he does, but he puts them on, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like Evil Dead where it's like you open the book and then it like cuts your finger or something like that. So you touch it.
I'm gonna put those on. That's gnarly.
Well, I don't think you had a choice.
Yeah, I don't think he had a choice either. I think that like the teeth made him do it, or the curse.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Who would willingly do that? Like, let me put in these like old dentures.
Yeah. What it does is it basically, I think it infects your dreams until you finally are forced to go dig it up. And then when you touch it, then it forces you to put it in your mouth and bite whoever's nearby. And apparently, if it bites you, then you become, a monster. But if it kills you, then you're fine.
Yeah, that's typical werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the grandmother later on, where you find that the trailer was destroyed and the people are all dead, but they didn't turn.
Right.
They were killed. I mean, so
Yeah. I think you have to be bit by it. I don't even think scratching. I think like the actual fangs have to get into you and you have to survive.
gotcha.
Yeah, because that one blonde girl, she turns into one later, and then this kid who gets bit, William, he becomes like the main, killer guy, whatever.
Yeah.
So that sparks like this whole investigation because they bring William back. Oh, and the kids all say, "Hey, we won't tell our parents about this," which is like, you probably should.
You should.
Yeah.
We're all gonna just pretend this didn't happen.
Well, they took an oath, so they took the oath really seriously, but they should have probably, at that point, I mean, people had died, so.
I don't think anybody's died at this point yet.
Well, yeah, the kid disappears though. I mean,
That's what I was gonna ask. So the kid Tommy puts the fangs in his mouth, bites William, and then
right.
Tommy runs away, right? Or does he runs away because then Charlotte finds him in the church, right? So he's missing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
And he has no memory.
The kid with the teeth, yeah, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then William is back at his house and he's really sick. And the mom's like freaking out, because he's really sick. And then William runs off into the woods. Everybody's freaking out about this. He cuts his leg on the door as he runs. And then Charlotte goes to the church, finds Tommy. Tommy's holding a piece of the Bible where he reads that what Judas was given for ratting out Jesus. And he's like, okay,
Right.
so he got the silver. So at this point, then we meet the pathologist. We meet the main character, who is John McBride, played by Boyd Holbrook. And he comes in. He explained where he came from, right? So he explains where he comes from, and he is like, I just came from a town where there was a beast. It was killing a bunch of people. It killed. I don't think he says he killed my family yet, but I want to know what's going on. So he goes to this town, and
There's already attacking going on, and like two other people died by the beast, and one woman survives, and then they catch her with the new guy who just showed up, the pathologist, and he like kills her almost, but then he like does this like autopsy on her, cutting her open, and then I think her name was Anne or something.
so much later, though.
Is it that much later?
Yeah, this is way later.
Okay.
Because like when the pathologist gets there, he has to swab the blood on the door, and that's when
Yeah, there's all of that going on, but that was kind of forgettable, some of that stuff. So that's I think why I'm jumping around.
Yeah, because later on, after they've like holed up in the church, like all that stuff, that's when that girl gets bitten. So
Right.
right now it's just William running around murdering people,
Right.
and we've got John is just in the town getting to know everybody, I guess. Yeah, damn. That's probably my only gripe with this movie. It's a little longer than it needs to be, and it does get a little confusing at parts.
Like it made more sense when I was watching it, but yeah, trying to recall it.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like trying to recall it in the order it happened is very difficult.
Yeah.
Like the plot is there's a lot that happens in these 2-hour movie here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pathologist does look at the blood and he sees that it's like an infected DNA. So he's like, okay, this is definitely these monsters.
Yeah, I like that. It was like little like black spots on the blood or whatever. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that
and
must be it. That was a little cheesy, but it was fun.
But then he goes out into the woods and he finds Tommy and he knows that he's like a creature now or something like that. Oh, no, he was killed by the creature.
He was mauled. Yeah, he's dead.
yeah.
Yeah, and he finds the little toy and it's just like, oh my God, this creature's really real.
This is happening. Yeah.
And he sets up the trap or whatever, because he knows that this thing's coming, and he warns all the people, like, you guys just like go to the church. You can send people out for food, but they need to be armed, and they need to be together. And people just still keep getting picked off. Like the woman's just like, yeah, let's go out into the field, the three of us, no weapons, whatever.
I know. Yeah.
They just get murdered.
Yeah, if someone was like, there's a big scary monster outside, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna stay inside and play video games. Sounds good.
I know. What are they
You want to
thinking?
hear me complain? I'm gonna go get some milk.
Yeah. Well, it was also, I mean, they did a good job explaining that they had an outbreak of cholera. That was the reason that they couldn't like send the military beforehand.
True. You're right, Greg. Yeah. Yep. So they felt like they didn't want to be around each other too. That's a good point.
Yeah. That was, I think, their way of protecting themselves and explaining certain things away, that would have probably happened if they didn't have that outbreak.
Yeah, there is a lot going on like in the world around them. I mean, we've got the cholera outbreak, this wolf attack in another part of the town. The military's not coming. So it is like an isolated feeling too.
Tuberculosis is still a thing. Like, it's not a good, safe time.
Yeah. And then basically we get to the part where you were talking about, Eric. Now that girl is in the field. Her friends get murdered. She gets bit. Now here's the question I don't understand. And this is another thing that says this is not a werewolf movie. when that girl gets bit, she runs out into the woods and like these tentacles or whatever, this like branches start coming out of her
Like
back.
vines, right?
Yeah. And it like drags her into the water and kills her.
I think that's what makes it different than a werewolf movie is it's not just like a wolf. It's like it turns you into beasts and stuff instead. So it's not just like wolf stuff, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's a good point, Alec. And the whole scene when they catch her in the trap and then bring her back and then start to cut the beast open and then find her within the beast. That scene is gonna haunt me for the rest of my days. That was a scary scene.
Yeah.
Besides the scarecrow popping up, that was probably the most like disturbing scene.
The thing is, they made the father shoot with the girl. I mean, anyone could have shot her.
Was it the father? That was her dad who shot her.
Yeah.
I think so.
And the guy kept saying, shoot her, shoot her.
No, he said I've known her since she was a girl,
Yeah.
a little girl. So I don't think it was
right.
father, but like he knew her since she was a child.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, leave the dad out of that. I wouldn't bring the dad in that room.
Well, it's cool too because like you hear Boyd Holbrook, he's just like at this point they can't be brought back. So like he's experienced this before, it feels like. And I thought that was really cool. So basically once these creatures, because they can be killed, he builds this trap with all these spikes and he throws the thing into the spikes and then they bring the body back. So the creature's dead, but inside of it is the person that it had the bite, and then it comes back as like a creature, but it's a human, but it's like a undead. So they shoot it, and that's how you kill it
Yeah, but the boy, I mean, he came back.
because of the silver bullet.
Over bullet, but also we'll get to that too. What happened there?
So you mean if they shot the girl with the silver bullet, she would have been okay?
I think there's more to it. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I have a theory, but I think that's what we're supposed to believe.
Me too. It's part of the curse, I think.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking the same thing I am. Like the mother died at the same time.
We were gonna get to it, Greg. We're gonna get to it.
Sorry.
No, but yeah, like that. Yeah, we'll get to it in like a little
Okay.
bit. Let's get through the plot. We're almost there. But yes, exactly.
Yeah, so everybody's locked up in the church, basically he's like, all right, this is real now. Everybody get to the church. Like, seriously, no.
Who cares about cholera? Who cares? Like everyone in the church, no more cholera crap. Like everyone's getting COVID. We're all getting. It's a super spreader. It's a super spreader in the church.
Then again, they go back to Seamus's house, the guy who owns the land, and he's still got his like house servants, just like, yeah, we'll still go out in the field by ourselves and work, whatever. You're like, what? Why is everyone in the church except for this like house servant who's getting paid nothing to change sheets, and she's like out there by herself? Of course, she gets bit, but she doesn't want. She's like, I'm so afraid of losing my job. I'm still gonna go in and work, even though I just got attacked by a monster. So she's got a big bite on her arm. Seamus walks in. He's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm fine," and is making food and all this stuff. And then she runs out and transforms, or she gets like naked and runs out. Right?
Wait, what are you saying? What part is this?
The housemaid who gets bitten.
Yeah, she's trying to hide it. She's like trying to like be like, I wasn't bit, but like clearly she's in a lot of pain and she's still doing her duties. But then she like excuses herself from the helping and goes upstairs and then transforms.
Right. Yeah. So then she runs out, and then the house lights on fire.
Well, that's because Seamus takes her out. He kills her, and then and this is why I think he's not in the church, Alec, because he blames himself for this. He's the reason why the curse is. He's the one who ordered the massacre of the Romani people and their clan. So,
Well, he took the picture,
right,
which was in the drawer of all the guys that did all the killing, and they were all just sitting around, and they all took the photo of all the guys. So I don't know why. I guess the guy who owned the land was ultimately responsible, but the curse, I'm surprised it wasn't on all of them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Eric, I'm not blaming the church, because I'm saying the church spoke up and they were like, they do have a claim to this land. He's like, but typically if you show them like the belt or whatever, they'll back off. And then I think Seamus was like, just get rid of them.
he went overboard. Yeah, exactly.
Get these people out of here. And they took it way, way too far. And obviously,
Also, taking those pictures too was like really kind of gross too.
and even that's the thing. It's like even in 1881, they knew this. I mean, obviously it's wrong, but they knew it was so wrong they didn't want to hang the picture up. They're like, this is the only
Yeah.
trophy that we keep in the thing. It's like, well, then you even know it's wrong. Obviously it's wrong, but even in your mind, you're still like, yeah, this is actually messed up.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you're right. I think like they in the fight with the maid when she transforms, they knock over a candlestick or some lantern, and the whole house catches on fire.
And Seamus lights himself on fire too.
Well, Seamus is bitten too,
Yeah,
and then he knows what's up, and just yeah, that's it.
yeah.
And when the horses ran out and they were on fire, that was a cool scene, I thought.
That's why they went over budget, though, doing shots like that aren't really needed, but like add to the severity of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool Yeah, you're right though, Eric. It's like if it wasn't as bloated with stuff like that, it maybe would have done better if it was shorter, but I don't know. I still like that they have that. That could have been like the director's cut, like the hour 55 one with the horses on fire and the dead old ladies and stuff.
Yeah, and like the whole scene, the one shot of them just wiping out the clan, it's just like they could have just made that a quicker scene and saved probably a lot of budget there. I'm just
It helps the severity of the situation.
Oh yeah, no, and that scene was haunting as well, and it was well done.
You need to hate these people and be like, yeah, they deserve this.
Agreed.
I'm surprised that they spent that much money, though. They could have promoted it differently.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was shot on film, which is very expensive nowadays. That's one thing, but
Yeah, I think that was it too.
yeah, and it's also shot in, I mean, rural France. I don't know. I really don't know why it would have ballooned up that much.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe, I don't know if she took a bigger pay cut, bigger pay, but I would think that that would have been negotiated beforehand. So I don't know.
Oh, I don't think the actress made that much. But who knows? So now we're at the climax. The house is on fire. They get to the church, and this is another thing I was kind of like, I don't know. So they get to the church and they explain the situation where they're like, we just need to stay here till the morning, and then we'll get the military and it'll be fine. And then everybody goes to sleep. And it's like there should be at least like four people being like, all right, I'm gonna be up with the guns pointed at the door, but everybody goes to bed. And then the mother from Yellowstone has the dream and she starts hearing her son outside. And she goes to the door and the monster's there and she opens it and it breaks in and kills everybody. And I don't know. I'm just kind of like, how is nobody watching guard? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's outside, but she decides I think she hears her son, right? And that's why she
Well, yeah, more people should have been awake, though,
Yeah.
like inside.
Yeah. Well, who's not like, there should be people guarding the door inside with guns. And then they see this woman just walking to open the door. They'd be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's like, I hear my boy. It's like, no, you don't. No, you sit down.
there's none of that. There's none of that.
So that was ridiculous. And then, the monster gets in and friggin' murders half the people in the church. And then we'll get to our theory now. So they shoot the werewolf, but before that they shoot the mother. So it shoots the mother, then the werewolf, and then they both fall on the ground and the mother dies and the werewolf turns into the little boy. So do you want to go first, Eric? What's your theory?
I mean, I don't know if it's a theory. It's just like the shot passing through the mother first and then into him, I think is like the sacrifice the curse needed to be ended, I guess.
That's what I thought too. And also the bullet was lodged in him still. So I think once the bullet got removed,
Yes.
that's why he died, because it took the bullet out. So yeah, I think you're right, Eric. It's like the mother's blood and sacrifice going into him and staying in him.
But also like having to go through two people, the bullet slowed down and like you said, stayed in him. Like it wasn't like an exit wound.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. Why? Did you have any idea of that, or what'd you think?
No, I just thought, I mean, she died right away when he was revived. I mean, so I didn't know if somehow her spirit like gave him life, but that, they didn't really focus on that. So I doubt that was, it wasn't meant to be that. I like the idea more of the bullet passing through her because she's trying to protect the creature, which she thinks is her son. And that's the reason the guy has to kill. But, he knows in order to kill the beast, he has to shoot straight. And that's going to go right through the woman. So He does that. I mean, he basically shoots the silver bullet. But is that the only bullet he used? I mean, later on, he like lined up the bullets and put them. I don't know if there's 5 bullets, but did he only shoot the one silver bullet?
Think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he melted down 4 bullets, and I think he kept them by his bedside as a getting rid of evil.
Maybe to keep him away from the Romanis, because if they ever got it, they could maybe start the curse up again with it, and he was keeping the curse safe or something. I don't know.
I mean, regular bullets work, but for some reason he made the silver bullets. I mean, or he made the bullets out of the teeth that were the silver from Judas.
But maybe because I don't think he shot that girl earlier with the silver bullet, so maybe if he shot her with it, she would have been okay too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But didn't the girl give the bullets from the church to him? Like the bullets. I don't remember exactly. I'm trying to remember that ending when he's like, "You're coming with me. I'm going to take care of you," kind of thing, like in Braveheart.
Yeah, so he takes the 2 kids, William and Charlotte, and they go to live with him somewhere. Yeah, so at the end though, Charlotte comes back with the bullet that killed William and just leaves it there with the rest of them. So I'm guessing it's like, oh, they're all together now, so nobody could take it and use it to start the curse up again. I don't know.
Well, it's like now you're gonna pass away and you have all 4 bullets, so you can die now. And knowing that you have all the bullets left, the curses. So now, like, I would imagine we're gonna bury you with the bullets.
Yeah, that could there could be that too.
Take him with you, and no one else knows this but me now, probably, right?
No, I think that's part of it, but I have 2 theories. One, he took the boy because like that boy would have gotten murdered by that town. There's no way they're gonna be like, "Oh, you don't remember? You don't remember? Oh, okay." And then just like he's like, "Well, I gotta get this kid out of here."
Yeah.
His parents are also dead,
Yeah, of course.
and the house burned down, so they have nothing. So he's like, well,
Yeah,
I agree with you, Alec, though. Like, that town is not going to forget that kid.
yeah. They're like, "Oh, William, what's up, man? Yeah, you killed everybody in my family."
I'm sorry, I'm just here to go to the store.
Well, the father, he said that all the people that lived on the land were his employees,
Yeah.
and he had them all go to the church. But now that he's dead, and the mother's dead, I mean, they're all dead. Who's going to take care of all those people? And what are they going to do? I mean,
That'll be a power grab. Somebody, whoever's, the second most powerful or remaining.
yeah.
I think also just how do you like be like, all right, kids, see ya? That'd be messed up.
What? Oh, if he didn't do that?
If he
Yeah.
just was like, all right, my job here's done.
Yeah, it's like, aren't you gonna take us with you? It's like, no, I have a pathology clinic in Paris. I'm not staying here. What are you talking about? Like, no, this isn't my problem.
Yeah.
But what was the other thing I was gonna ask? Oh yeah, I also think this could be the start of like a franchise. Like you could just have somebody digging this up in like 1985 or whatever, and they find this guy's, coffin or whatever, and it has the bullets, and then they melt it down and it turns at the curse. You could just start this up whenever.
Someone finds the diary of whatever the girl is, and then yeah, that'd be a lot though.
You could just spread the curse from the silver. It doesn't really need to be tied to the Romanis or whatever. But
I'm sure that could have been the idea if this movie did better. It did not do well.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, by the way, like after this, like Google the budget because it's like whoever the company was that did this fronted the 38 million, but it ballooned to like 75 to 100 million. So yeah, $100 million movie that only technically made 20 million globally, but only 4 million domestically, which is like, ooh, not good.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money for a movie that's not like a Marvel movie. I mean, that's a lot of money.
You bet.
I was going to say the Beast of Jevadan could be the first instance, and then the curse was this one, and then I don't know if you want to, if they're going to have sequels. In other words, this would be the third instance of the film, of the curse rather.
now it could go anywhere. I mean, they really could just, it could just keep going throughout time where they bury it, somebody else finds it, it pricks their finger, they turn into the monster and just keeps going. And maybe this guy left a diary of how he stopped it, and they find that. I mean, there's a million things they could have done, but
Yeah.
I doubt they're going to do anything with it because I mean, this is like a colossal bomb.
Yeah.
But it sucks because it is a good movie and it's a cool plot. And I mean, it sucks that not a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I did come across it on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only station that it's on.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about stuff like this nowadays is if this movie came out in like 2003 and it didn't do well in theaters, it would have made a lot of money on DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. But nowadays, Hulu just pays the distribution company or the production company a flat rate, and then they hold the metrics of how many people have watched it. So it's just like it sucks because this movie actually it could have produced sequels even if it didn't do well in theaters if it were a DVD market still.
Yeah.
But
I mean, now I guess it'll go from Hulu to maybe another channel. Maybe it'll have more exposure there. And
which helps deal with the losses in the film for sure over time.
yeah.
yeah.
But
And I think, because of Yellowstone, people, once they find out like Beth's in it,
can't agree more. Yeah, that's a great point, Greg. Yeah, that show was great too. So
I heard also the original name wasn't The Cursed, it was something else.
Yeah, it was Pieces of Eight.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That might have done a little bit better. And the Curse, I've told, a couple people about the podcast, and I said, yeah, we're talking about a movie. And they say, oh, what movie? And I'll say The Cursed. And I've been asked 10 different ways can you spell it? I, I, I can't say it any clearer. I mean,
the curse.
yeah, exactly.
Like the cursor? No, not the cursor. The cursed. Like
Yeah, it doesn't give you a lot of I don't know. It doesn't really hook you. It's like, okay, there's a curse, the cursed. There's someone to carry
Yeah,
it. Yeah, but yeah, they should have gone with that. It would have stood out a little more probably if they went with Pieces of Eight. But
yeah.
well, yeah, I think we pretty much covered this movie. Do you guys have any last minute thoughts?
no, just I really like this movie. Yeah. I mean that's all I wanted to end on. I'm not knocking. It's a good watch. It really is. I agree with you, Alec, though. If it trimmed off like even 15 minutes, I think it would feel less bloated. But yeah, really, really cool take on werewolf lore and all that for sure. And silver bullets. That stuff's so cool.
Yeah, there were a couple of movies that, we considered over this one. This was one of them. But the more I thought about it, I really liked the movie. And I think it would be better than the other ones. The other ones were good, but there was something about this one I liked. The overall feel of the film was good. It was more of like watch it in the autumn or watch it around Halloween, and it's going to even be more, have that cool feeling, have a fire going. So
I hear a little wood crackling in the background. I was just gonna say, yeah, that's cool. But you definitely, I'm gonna watch this one again, maybe around like Halloween season. Maybe I'll be
yeah,
like, oh yeah, this movie's sick.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll understand it a little more the second time I watch it.
yeah, I did for sure.
It's a good counterpiece to like Sleepy Hollow. It's nice if you're gonna do both of those.
Agree.
But all right, well, Eric, you want to spin the wheel?
Let's spin it. All right, spinning. Ooh, we got Host, not the host. Host.
Host from 2020.
I'm not gonna mess this up again. I'm not gonna watch The Inheritance and Inheritance. I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah, we've got our guest coming on, Mike Molino. He's coming back, and he's actually our social media marketing manager. So we're gonna introduce him to everybody, and it'll be fun to talk with him again. So yeah, look forward to that. But Dad, thank you very much for coming back on and recommending this movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, and we'll get you on again in the future. Sooner than I think it's been a couple years, so we'll get you on again soon.
Yeah, no, it's just like 4:35.
This one, yeah, oh yeah, this has got to be up around there. Yeah, it's 4:30 something. So
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's
Yeah.
insane, Alec. Greg, thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, hope you have a good birthday too. I mean, I know it's almost over, but
Who would I rather spend it with than you, Greg? Are you kidding me? This is great.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, I had a great time.
oh, thanks, Dad. But thank you everybody for listening into our discussion on The Cursed, and we will see you next week with Host.